Bible story.
圣经故事
Israel's story, from the promised land to exile, restoration.
以色列的故事，从应许之地到流亡与复国。
Canaan, the promised land. In the ancient beginnings, around 2000 BC, a man named Abraham received a divine promise. God vowed that Abraham's descendants would inherit the land of Canaan. Through Abraham's son Isaac and his grandson Jacob, this covenant was passed down through the generations.
应许之地迦南，在远古之初，大约在西元前2000年，一个名叫亚伯拉罕的人得到了神圣的应许。上帝承诺说，亚伯拉罕的后代将继承迦南之地。透过亚伯拉罕的儿子以撒和他的孙子雅各，这个盟约代代相传。
Abraham journeyed with his family, and they settled in the land God promised. Generations passed, and Abraham's descendants, including his grandson Jacob, grew into a nation known as the Israelites. Jacob's 12 sons become the ancestors of the 12 tribes of Israel.
亚伯拉罕与家人同行，他们定居在上帝应许的土地上。几个世代过去了，亚伯拉罕的后裔，包括他的孙子雅各，逐渐成为一个被称为以色列人的民族。雅各的12个儿子，成为以色列12支派的祖先。
Joseph's position in Egypt. Jacob's son Joseph, who had been betrayed and sold into slavery by his own brothers, managed to ascend to a position of authority and prominence within Egypt. Joseph's position and foresight enabled Egypt to store enough grain during the years of plenty to survive the famine. This made Egypt a place of refuge and abundance during a time of widespread hunger.
约瑟在埃及的地位。雅各的儿子约瑟被他的兄弟出卖为奴隶，但后来在埃及却获得了权力和影响力。约瑟的地位和远见使埃及在丰收的几年里储备了足够的谷物，以应对饥荒。这使得埃及在普遍饥饿时期成为避难所和富足之地。
Famine in Canaan. Later, a severe famine struck the land of Canaan. This famine had a significant impact on the region, including the area where Jacob and his family resided. The famine led to a scarcity of food and resources, making it challenging for them to survive.
迦南饥荒。后来，迦南地遭遇严重饥荒。这次饥荒对该地区产生了重大影响，包括雅各及其家人居住的地区。饥荒导致食物和资源匮乏，使他们的生存变得困难。
Joseph's reunion with his family. When Jacob and his sons learned that there was grain available in Egypt, they decided to send some of their brothers to buy provisions. During their visit, Joseph revealed his true identity to his brothers and invited Jacob and the entire family to come to Egypt, where they would be provided for and protected during the famine.
约瑟与家人团聚。当雅各和他的儿子们得知埃及有粮食时，他们决定派一些兄弟去购买粮食。在他们访问期间，约瑟向他的兄弟们透露了自己的真实身份，并邀请雅各和整个家庭前来埃及，在那里他们将在饥荒期间得到供给和保护。
The Exodus. Over time, as the Israelite population continued to increase, a new pharaoh came to power who saw the Israelites as a threat. Ordered the enslavement and harsh treatment of the Israelites, they cried out to God for deliverance, and God raised up a leader named Moses.
出埃及记。随着时间的推移，以色列人口的不断增加，新法老王上台，他将以色列人视为威胁，下令对以色列人进行奴役和残酷对待。以色列人们向神呼求拯救，神就兴起了一位领袖，名叫摩西。
Moses confronted Pharaoh with God's command to let my people go. When Pharaoh refused, God sent a series of plagues upon Egypt, culminating in the deaths of the firstborn sons. Finally, Pharaoh relented and released the Israelites. They departed in haste, carrying their unleavened bread and their possessions.
摩西以上帝的命令面对法老，说：“容我的百姓去。”当法老拒绝时，上帝降下一系列的灾祸在埃及，最终导致长子的死亡。最后，法老王屈服并释放了以色列人，他们带着无酵饼和财物匆匆离开埃及。
Crossing of the Red Sea. As the Israelites left Egypt, Pharaoh changed his mind and pursued them with his army. The Israelites were trapped at the edge of the Red Sea. God parted the waters, allowing the Israelites to cross on dry land. When the pursuing Egyptian army followed, the sea closed over them, drowning the soldiers.
渡过红海。当以色列人离开埃及时，法老改变主意，率军追赶他们。以色列人被困在红海沿岸，上帝把水分开，让以色列人走上干地。当埃及军队追击时，海水合拢，将士兵淹没。
Wandering in the wilderness. As the Israelites made their way through the wilderness, God provided for their needs. Manna fell from the heavens, water flowed from a rock, and the divine presence guided them as a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. They received the 10 Commandments and other laws at Mount Sinai during this time.
旷野漂流。当以色列人穿越旷野时，上帝供应了他们的需要。从天上降下玛瑙，水从磐石中涌出，神的存在引导他们，白天是云柱，晚上是火柱。在此期间，他们在西乃山接受了十诫和其他法律。
40 years in the wilderness. Due to their disobedience and lack of faith, the Israelites spent 40 years wandering in the wilderness. Only a new generation would enter the promised land.
旷野40年，由于以色列人的悖逆和缺乏信心，他们在旷野漂流了40年，只有新一代才能进入应许之地。
The conquest of Canaan. Under the leadership of Joshua, the Israelites conquered the land of Canaan. The city of Jericho was their first major obstacle. Following God's instructions, they marched around the city for 7 days, and on the 7th day, they blew their trumpets, and the walls of Jericho miraculously collapsed.
征服迦南。在约书亚的带领下，以色列人征服了迦南地。耶利哥城是他们的第一个主要障碍。他们遵照上帝的指示，绕城游行了7天。第7天， 他们吹响了号角，耶利哥的城墙奇迹般地倒塌了。
The Israelites continued to conquer the land, facing various Canaanite tribes and city-states. They divided the land among the 12 tribes of Israel. However, their success was often dependent on their obedience to God's commands, and when they strayed, they faced setbacks and conflicts.
以色列人继续征服这片土地，面对各种迦南的部落和城邦。他们把这块土地划分给以色列的12个支派。然而，他们的成功通常取决于他们是否遵守上帝的命令，一旦偏离，他们就会面临挫折和冲突。
The period of the Judges. Following the conquest of Canaan, the Israelites entered a period of cyclical disobedience, oppression, and deliverance under various judges whom God raised up. The book of Judges recounts these stories, showing a pattern of moral decline and spiritual renewal.
士师时期，征服迦南之后，以色列人在神所兴起的各士师的统治下，进入了周期性的悖逆、压迫和拯救的时期。士师记中记载了这些故事，展示了一种道德堕落和属灵复兴的模式。
The United Monarchy. The Israelites eventually desired a king to unite their tribes and lead them. God granted their request and anointed Saul as the first king. Later, King David, a man after God's own heart, succeeded Saul. David's son, Solomon, became known for his wisdom and built the first temple in Jerusalem. The United Monarchy of Israel was a period of relative stability and prosperity.
联合君主制，以色列人最终渴望一个国王来统一他们的支派并领导他们。上帝应允了他们的请求，并膏立扫罗为第一位国王。后来，合神心意的人大卫王继承了扫罗的王位。大卫的儿子所罗门以其智慧而闻名，并在耶路撒冷建造了第一圣殿。以色列统一君主政体是一个相对稳定和繁荣的时期。
The divided kingdom. After Solomon's reign, the kingdom split into the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah. The divided kingdoms faced threats from neighboring nations and suffered from idolatry and moral decline. Prophets like Isaiah and Jeremiah warned of impending doom if the people did not turn back to God.
分裂的王国。在所罗门统治结束后，王国分裂为北以色列王国和南犹大王国。分裂的王国面临邻国的威胁，并遭受偶像崇拜和道德沦丧。以赛亚和耶利米等先知警告说，如果人们不回转归向上帝，厄运即将来临。
Exile and return. The northern kingdom of Israel fell to the Assyrians due to disobedience and idolatry in 722 BC, leading to the scattering and disappearance of its 10 tribes. The southern kingdom of Judah survived a bit longer but was conquered by the Babylonians in 586 BC. The Babylonians destroyed Solomon's temple and exiled many leading Judah residents, marking the Babylonian exile.
流亡与回归。以色列北部王国因不顺从和偶像崇拜而在西元前722年被亚述人所征服，导致其10个支派被分散和消失。 犹大南部王国存活了更长一些时间，但在西元前586年被巴比伦人征服。巴比伦人摧毁了所罗门的圣殿，并流放了许多犹大的居民领袖，代表着巴比伦流亡时期的开始。
During their exile, the Jewish people held on to their faith and traditions, and it was during this time that the Hebrew Bible was compiled and edited. According to the prophet Jeremiah's prophecy, the Babylonian exile lasted 70 years. Eventually, the Persian king Cyrus the Great allowed the exiles to return to their homeland and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. This marked the beginning of a period known as the Second Temple period.
在流亡期间，犹太人坚守信仰和传统，希伯来圣经也在此时编纂和编辑。根据先知耶利米的预言，巴比伦流亡持续了70年。最终，波斯国王居鲁士大帝允许流亡者返回故土，并在耶路撒冷重建圣殿，这代表着第二圣殿时期的开始。
The Second Temple period. Under Persian and later Greek rule, the Jewish people were able to rebuild the Second Temple. The period saw significant events, including the conquests of Alexander the Great, the Hellenistic influence on Jewish culture, and the Maccabean Revolt, during which the Jewish people fought against Hellenistic oppression and regained control of Jerusalem.
第二圣殿时期，在波斯和后来的希腊统治下，犹太人得以重建第二圣殿。这段时期发生了重大事件，包括亚历山大大帝的征服、希腊文化对犹太文化的影响以及马加比起义。犹太人在这次起义中反抗希腊压迫，重新夺回了对耶路撒冷的控制。
However, this period also saw the rise of the Roman Empire. In 63 BC, the Roman general Pompey conquered Jerusalem, and Judea became a Roman province. The Herodian dynasty ruled as client kings under Roman authority, with Herod the Great overseeing extensive renovations and expansions of the Second Temple.
然而，这段时期也见证了罗马帝国的崛起。西元前63年，罗马将军庞培征服了耶路撒冷，犹太地成为罗马的一个省。希律王朝作为罗马权威下的附庸国王进行统治，希律大帝监督第二圣殿的大规模翻修和扩建工程。
The life of Jesus and early Christianity. The 1st century CE brought significant religious and historical developments to the region. It was during this time that Jesus of Nazareth emerged as a central figure in Christianity. His teachings, miracles, crucifixion, and resurrection became the foundation of the Christian faith.
耶稣的生平与早期基督信仰，西元1世纪为该地区带来了重大的宗教和历史发展。在这个时期，拿撒勒的耶稣成为基督信仰的中心人物，他的教导、神迹、被钉十字架和复活成为基督信仰的基础。
The destruction of the Second Temple. During the First Jewish-Roman War in 70 AD, Titus-led Roman legions destroyed the Second Temple in Jerusalem. This event had a profound impact on the Jewish people and led to the dispersion of Jews throughout the Roman world, known as the diaspora.
第二圣殿的毁灭， 在西元70年的第一次犹太罗马战争中，由提多指挥的罗马军团摧毁了耶路撒冷的第二圣殿。这一事件对犹太人民产生了深远的影响，导致犹太人在罗马世界各地散居，这一时期被称为散居。
Jewish diaspora and perseverance. Despite the destruction of the Second Temple and their dispersion, the Jewish people maintained their faith, traditions, and a strong sense of identity. Jewish communities flourished in various parts of the world, contributing to the fields of philosophy, science, literature, and culture.
犹太人的散居与坚韧。尽管第二圣殿被摧毁并被驱散，犹太人仍然保持着他们的信仰、传统和强烈的认同感。犹太社群在世界各地繁荣发展，为哲学、科学、文学和文化领域做出了贡献。
Modern Israel. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, there was a resurgence of Jewish nationalism and the desire for a homeland. After World War II and the Holocaust, Israel was restored to statehood in 1948, leading to conflicts with neighboring Arab states and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
现代以色列，在19世纪末和20世纪初，犹太民族主义和对家园的渴望再度兴起。二战和大屠杀后，以色列于1948年恢复了国家地位，引发了与邻国阿拉伯国家以及以色列和巴勒斯坦之间的冲突。
Since its inception, Israel has faced trials, wars, and conflicts with neighboring nations. Yet, it has also thrived, becoming a beacon of democracy, technological innovation, and cultural diversity, a testament to the enduring spirit and determination of the people of Israel. The story of Israel continues, shaped by its rich history, faith, and desire for permanent peace in their forefathers' land.
自建国以来，以色列就面临与邻国的考验、战争和冲突。然而，它也蓬勃发展，成为民主、技术创新与文化多样性的典范，证明了以色列人民不屈不挠的精神和决心。以色列的故事仍在继续，其丰富的历史、信仰和对祖先土地上永久和平的渴望塑造了这个故事。